Welcome to the Abundance Journey, the show that helps spiritual entrepreneurs create an abundance mindset that accelerates revenue. Secretly, everything you experience in your life is actually abundance. Once you understand how to activate abundance, you find yourself in flow with your business and clients, so it's easy to create the revenue you want. The Abundance Journey is the only show that activates abundance for you, so you enjoy rapid results in your business. Here's your host, the Abundance Ambassador, Elaine Starling.
You know, there is something that is holding you back from living the life of your dreams. And I don't care how great your life is right now. There's actually more that you could be accessing, but you haven't found the way through yet. Well, we all have challenges that come up because of hidden internal limiting beliefs. And we're just way too close to be able to see these beliefs for what they are and the barriers, the cage that we have created around ourselves. Well, I am so grateful that we get to chat with Royce Morales today because this woman is amazing. Royce is a renowned spiritual trailblazer. She's been teaching her innovative time-tested approach to inner transformation. It's called Perfect Life Awakening. She's been doing this for over 4 decades. I mean, you wouldn't know to look at her because she looks like she's in her 20s, but this lady's been around a little bit, okay? Her Inner Awakening series of classes and her private inner journey clearing sessions shift and resolve subconscious, disempowering, false programmed beliefs by releasing where they originated. Negative patterns and subconscious fears are resolved so that paralyzing issues lose their impact and life can shift. This work helps participants experience life completely differently. It transforms them from being constantly triggered by life to being empowered. So they show up totally differently and they experience their life at a much higher level. Well, Royce is not only brilliant at sharing this through her training, she also has 3 different books out. She's got Want, True Love, Past Lives, and Other Complications. She's got No, A Spiritual Wake-Up Call, and Back, Rebirth After Stroke. I can't wait to talk to you about that one since I had a stroke too. And all 3 books are available on Amazon.com. Royce, welcome. I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you. What a great introduction. Thank you.
Well, there's so much to say.
I look like I'm 20. Thank you.
Own it, honey. Just own it. Hey. It's all a limiting belief anyway, right?
Exactly. It is. Yes. Yes.
Well, as you know, I always start the show with an intention. And our intention is what we want to create together and how we want to feel as we bring this to life. And the thing that's so beautiful about this, it's kind of like when you play pool and you're shooting balls into the corner pocket and you say, I'm going to put this ball in that corner pocket. That's what your intention is all about. You're making a claim of what you want to create. And the beautiful thing is you're in partnership with the divine. So they are an active participant helping you create this intention. So I call it almost like spiritual GPS. You know, we're typing the address in that we want to, where we want to go. And then we can just relax. So I've got a very specific structure that I use. I always start with in love and light, because to me, that's acknowledging that the God of your understanding is an active participant. It's kind of like, hey, so glad you could join us today. So just acknowledging. Then there comes the intention. And then at the end, it's only polite to say thank you because they're going to be helping us make this happen. And then at the very end, I say it is done as a reminder to us that we've already put in the order. We don't have to keep typing or talking. We're good. Now, the hardest part is that then we're going to hold this intention in total silence for 78 seconds. I think this is the only podcast and video show that does this, but it is so incredibly powerful because you are setting the stage for a higher vibration of what you want to create, and with the full participation and support of the divine, of the God of your understanding. So it's a really powerful practice to get into because current research shows that people right now have a shorter attention span than a goldfish. That's a little scary to me. So practicing holding the focus and holding the vibration. I mean, when we're that fractioned and we're thinking about so many different things all the time, it's no wonder the divine gets a little confused over what we want. So holding that intention allows the divine to really lock into that vibration and help make it happen. So there's two different tricks that I like to use that helps me stay focused for 78 seconds, because I got that goldfish mind thing going on too. So the first thing, just pick 2 or 3 words that you hear from the intention and just repeat them over and over again to yourself. And these are words that help you feel a certain way. It feels really good in your body when you hear these words. So just say it over and over again and stay in that zone. That's one technique. Now, another technique is to really focus on your body and notice if you feel any tingling or heat or cool, or I often will feel like my body's pixelating and expanding. And it's just really interesting to notice that, because the intention is working it collaboratively with the divine to direct energy where we want it to go. So you're feeling the energy start to move, which is really exciting. So, okay, do you have any questions for me, Royce, or shall we play?
Let's play, because I have a lot to say about what you just said. So yeah.
Awesome. I love this, because you have such an incredible background, and I cannot wait. To hear all of your insights. So let's start with the intention.
Okay.
In love and light, we hold the intention that we are aware of our limiting beliefs, replacing them with love and gratitude, so we are fully empowered to experience the expansive abundance of life. Thank you, divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done.
Yes.
We give thanks, and so it is. Whew. That felt amazing. You're obviously very high vibe, high energy person, because I really felt that. Thank you. That was incredible. And what I love about these intentions, the divine, the God of your understanding, is everywhere, every when. So watching this recording, you can tap into that energy over and over again. And your energy is now permanently connected to Royce's energy and my energy. So yeah, that's a great way to start your day.
Yes.
What was that like for you? You said that you've got some feedback on all this stuff and how you talk about it.
Oh, it's wonderful. Let me just start out by saying I have this funny expression that I use when I'm teaching. And the expression is, the universe is a yes machine. And I love that, because that is really the truth. And so anything that we put out there, the universe says, oh, okay, yes. Okay. So if you're putting out there, I don't deserve money, the universe says, oh, okay, yes, you're right. And we start not receiving money or losing money or whatever it is. So what I talk about a lot is that everything boils down to a belief that we hold to be true for lots of different reasons that I go into in my classes, but we hold a belief to be true that we do not deserve. So we can be affirming till we're blue in the face and visualizing and doing vision boards and all that stuff. But if there's a stronger part of us that says, well, yeah, but I don't really deserve that, that's the message the universe gets, and that's what manifests or doesn't manifest. So to get to the origin, as you said in my intro, to get to the origin of those non-deserving beliefs that we hold to be true does take some digging. It really does. So, that's what I do. I give everybody a big shovel. When people sign up for my courses, they get a shovel and a mirror, and they get to the origins, the real false beliefs that they hold to be true about themselves, whether it's from this life or past lives or in between lives, wherever it's from. And then we can clear that, and then we can say affirmations like what you just did, which is beautiful. And the universe says yes, because there's nothing in between saying, no, stay away. So.
And isn't that amazing? Isn't that wonderful? It's really interesting. I was blessed on New Year's Day 2005 to have a stroke, and during my stroke have a conversation with our higher power. And I got all this information, and one of the messages I received is that whatever you believe is true for you.
Yes, absolutely.
For you.
Yeah.
And the thing is that we pick up, we're like Velcro, we're rolling around, grabbing beliefs from everybody we hang out with and all the things that we watch on television and all of this stuff. And we absorb it and somehow we create this cage for ourselves. Now, obviously, you're really passionate about this. You've been doing it for over 4 decades, and you really know your stuff. What got you started? Why are you so determined and dedicated to helping people understand and remove limiting beliefs?
There's a huge part of me that knows that if we all understood this, there'd be peace on earth. I hate to sound dramatic, but there would be peace on earth because none of us would be blaming anybody. We would all look inside and go, okay, why is this manifesting in my life? What do I need to see about myself from this? What am I in denial of about? So it really comes from that maybe lofty notion that may not happen in this life, but eventually, where we all reach that point where we just go, oh yeah, it's all about love, isn't it? Oh yeah, I don't have to be reactive. We don't have to go to war. That's so silly. Why do we care about our territory? All the stuff that we're so attached to. And I got started in that. I always say this, but I arrived here with those questions like, why am I here? What's it all about? What happens when we die? Who am I supposed to be? All of those questions, and nobody could answer them. So I went on this long journey, trying every single possible discipline and religion and self-awareness exercise and channeling. You name it, I did it. And it's still a miraculous story for me that one night I was in a channeling class. So I had been going there for a few years, and the class was over, and one of the students walked up to me and said, Royce, you seem to know a lot of things. Would you consider teaching me? And I thought she was crazy. I really did. And my head was screaming, well, I don't know anything. I'm just a seeker. I've been seeking my whole life. Are you crazy? And out of my mouth came, sure, I'd love to. Bring your friends. And so she did. And 10, 11, 12 people arrived in my very small living room. And I started stuttering and stammering and getting information out. I was kind of regurgitating everything that I had learned. And at the end, they all came back and they told their friends. And, that was over 40 years ago. And a lot of it just started happening intuitively. I just kind of opened my mouth and things would come out. And I developed this inner process that I do with people very intuitively, which helps them get in touch with the origins of their lack of deservingness, as I call it. And that's basically my story.
Wow, that is amazing. That is so cool. And I'm so glad that you disconnected from your body enough to let that divine inspiration flow through you and say, sure, bring your friends, And then you were really channeling divine inspiration, sharing your ideas and your message. Yes, it's your ideas, but I think a lot of us realize that when we're truly in the zone, when we're really connecting with people, it's because our human selves are getting out of the way and we're letting that divine energy flow through us. It looks like us, it sounds like us, and when we go back and listen to it, we're like, who said that? That wasn't me.
I know. I used to say these things, and I would tape record all my classes, and I would go after everybody left. I would listen to the tapes and go, "Oh wow," and take notes on what I had said.
I've done that too, because
Yeah.
it's amazing the things that come through when you get out of your own way,
Yeah.
right? Now, I do have a question for you because obviously this is called the abundance journey, and I have never had two people define abundance the same way. So I always have to ask, given the kind of work that you do, where you're really helping people unblock themselves, how would you define abundance?
Well, it kind of goes back to what I was saying. Abundance is how much or how little we believe we deserve of anything, whether it be money, time, attention, love, health. It's all deservingness. It's all how much I absolutely know that this is what I believe or what I deserve. And you can't fake that. You cannot say, "Oh, I really deserve love," and suddenly have love show up. It has to be from a real place. So that's how I would define it. And it really isn't about, like I said, it's not necessarily about physical things. Everybody thinks abundance means money, but it's about anything and everything, and it's really about self-love. How much love do I believe I deserve to give myself? And that gets reflected back to us in some way. So if I can't manifest money, am I manifesting self-love? No, it's a direct link.
I love that. I absolutely love that because I think one of the key things that is a challenge for a lot of people, we're sort of divorced from our true selves. We're so focused on the exterior world and all the things and the stuff and the people and the commentary and the arguments and all of that stuff. It's very distracting. It's easy to get taken in by that. And yet, what I hear you say is it's so important to go inside. The answers are inside.
They all are. Yep. You just have to ask. Because, like I said, the universe is a yes machine. So if I'm asking, okay, what's getting in the way of me manifesting this abundance thing that I want? The universe says, oh, okay, I'll help you find that. And there you go. It shows up. So, yeah.
I love that. So you've worked with thousands of people and you have such an incredible track record. I'm sure that you've noticed certain symptoms that people tend to have and that they get to this point where it's like, okay, I have got to talk to Royce. So what's going on for people? What are the challenges they're facing or the symptoms they're experiencing right before they start to work with you?
Oh gosh, it could be anything. Really, but I do find that if somebody really starts to notice that their life just isn't working, maybe they have a job they hate or a relationship that isn't working, or, they're pissed off all the time at their husband, whatever it is, it reaches a certain point where they just know it's time to do something about that. I find a lot of times, sorry, therapists, but I find a lot of times that people go to therapy and they reach a certain point and they're like, okay, now I understand it's because of my mother, but it's not going away. So understanding on a logical level is not doing it. So yeah, I mean, my students have come from all walks of life, from all needs, but just reaching that certain point where they just know, I've got to do something about this. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love what you're saying. And I heard something that maybe you didn't mean. So I'm going to ask for some clarification because I heard you say it's all well and good to try to understand something, to use logic and rationale and let your mind take over. And we are so programmed to do that. Like the mind's in charge. And yet the body is this big resonating machine that picks up on all the vibrations that are going on, and it speaks through emotion and images. And so just doing the mind stuff, you're not really going inside to see what's going on here and really understand how you can resolve it. Am I off base here?
Oh, no, absolutely. And the other aspect is, of course, what does our spirit have to say? So that's the part that we're not trained to even recognize or even acknowledge sometimes. So yeah.
I love that.
In fact, sometimes I'll say to my students in the beginning of a course, I'll say, fine if you want to take notes and read all the handouts, but what I'd rather have you do is just sit here and absorb it and get whatever you get, and don't worry about the facts and the things that I wrote down and all that information. It's like, ugh, who cares about that? What are you experiencing right now? That's the important part.
That's very interesting that you say that, because I'm very kinesthetic. I'm very, I have to touch and feel and move. And so I automatically take notes. If I'm on a call with somebody, I'm like, I'm paying more attention to you if you see me typing, because I'm so focused on what you're saying and I'm really absorbing the information. And then I can go back and I can reread it, or I can watch the conversation again and I can get even more out of it. But for me to really tune in and be present, I have to be taking notes. So I hear what you're saying. And I think some people, it's just how they activate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
but I think there's a difference between that versus, understanding that 2 and 2 equals 4.
Right.
So what does that feel like inside now that you know that 2 and 2 equals 4? What does that bring up in you? What is that message for you? So there's that kind of learning that goes on too. Yeah.
That is so important. And it's really funny because for the longest time I struggled with, but the work that I do isn't tangible, right? It's not like I can say, well, I helped you build this pen. It's different than that. And yet there is nothing more tangible than really feeling what's happening in your body. And I want to share a quick story with you to kind of bring that to light. Now, during my stroke and my conversation with our higher power, I have never experienced such intense, all-encompassing love in my life. And I've been blessed. I mean, I have a wonderful relationship with my husband, all these good things. This was different. This was like leaps and bounds different. I call it a Niagara Falls of love, just saturating every single atom of my body. So I come out of the stroke with no damage, having an incredible conversation. I'm like, wow, I want more of that. I'll take that unconditional love on, to the nth degree right now. Thank you very much. How do I get more of that? And so all of the research that I did, everything said, you just have to allow. You have to open yourself up and allow the messages to come through. Well, I was allowing my little heart out. And every once in a while, I'd get a great download. It always felt amazing, but it felt really sporadic. It was more like a leaky watering can than Niagara Falls. And so finally, one day, I meditated and I'm sitting, journaling, asking for guidance. And I asked the divine, I'm like, why isn't this allowing thing working for me? And I immediately got the message, what is the image that comes to mind when you think of the word allow? Now, I never put anything on anybody else. I just am sharing my own experience. The image that I saw myself behind a door with a chain on the door, and I'm peeking out the door at the divine, and I am terrified because I can't control it. I don't know what's coming. I don't know how this is going to work. It just made me really uncomfortable. I was like, oh my gosh. I realized the word allow for me is a mind-based word because my mind wants systems and processes and steps, and a guarantee would be really good. It's all about the structure and control. And I can't control the divine. I mean, come on. The divine knows a lot more than I do. So I thought, wow, I need a different word. I want something that's very heart-centered and really represents the kind of relationship that I want to have with the divine. I had to think about it. It did not come immediately, but I finally realized that my word is welcoming. Now I welcome the divine. I welcome collaborative conversations like this one because it feels different to me. When I say the word allow, it feels constrictive. It feels like I'm putting rules on it and conditions on it. But when I say welcome, what door? I took the door off the hinges and chucked the door. I don't need a door, right? I'm just wide open. And you can feel the difference in the words you use. But we're so busy. We're so stream of conscious. Often we don't stop to feel the words, right?
Yeah. Oh, I just have to share this story is coming to me to share. And it really fits with what you're talking about, especially with the word intention, because we kind of started talking about that. My middle name was Skeptic when I first started doing all of it. Still is to some degree, but I needed proof all the time. And I was in a class learning how to be a channeler, as I mentioned before. And all of a sudden, I'm in a meditative state. We're doing this little guided meditation thing. And all of a sudden, I spontaneously left my body. Now, you have to realize that at that point in my life, I didn't even know if I believed in spirits. I didn't know that you could leave your body, and I didn't believe any of it. So there I was, out of my body, and I went over to a very, very close friend of mine's house, and I was watching him, and I knew exactly what he was doing, and I tried to communicate with him, but he didn't hear me. So I went back into my body. I called him that night, and I said, "Hey, did you feel me? I was out of my body. I was in your room." And I told him exactly what he was doing, and he was blown away. And so the point of the story is, I tried from that point on to have more out-of-body experiences, and I couldn't have any. No matter what I did, no matter how much I allowed them to happen, I couldn't do it. So I asked myself, after 5 or 6 years of this frustration, I said, "Okay, Royce, why are you not able to leave your body?" And I heard loud and clear, "What is your intention? Why do you want to leave your body?" And it was like, oh, okay, well, I wanted to at that point because I needed proof, but now it would just be like showing off, "Hey, I can leave my body." And I acknowledged all of the impure motives I had and what I wanted to do, and maybe I wanted to spy on some of my other friends, and oh God. And so my higher consciousness, my spirit, or whoever it was, said to me, "Okay, well, as soon as you clear up and create some kind of pure motive in wanting to do this, you'll be able to do it again." And a few years later, I was able to do it again because I had pure motives. So that intention stuff is really important. It really is.
Yes, I love that. That is so funny that you say that, because yes, and it's just like the limiting beliefs, because we don't realize that we're putting boundaries, we're putting blocks in front of ourselves, and it's really hard to climb over some of this stuff, right?
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
I know you feel the same way I do. Everybody thinks that something out there needs to change. Not
Right.
so. It's always something in here, something inside us that needs to shift and change. What have you found is kind of that trigger, that on-off switch that people must embrace in order to experience the transformation and truly release limiting beliefs?
Well, it all goes down to deservingness. That's always the bottom. It goes underneath every single thing. And when people locate where they decided that they don't deserve because of something they did, or something that they chose to not do, or something that they believe caused pain or loss, when they start locating those incidents and releasing them and forgiving themselves, and understanding what was going on, and it was just fear that caused this, then things can start to shift. That's why I say I give people shovels, because those are not easy to find. It's much more comfortable to sit around and feel like a victim, Yeah.
So it sounds like you have to be willing to look inside. Yes. And do the deep work. And often we resist that big time. Oh, yeah. And yet one of the messages that I get all the time from the divine is, if it makes you uncomfortable, excellent. Yes. We deliberately are making you uncomfortable because we want you to look at it.
Yes. In the face. Yes.
Stop glossing over it. Stop distracting yourself with other things. Pay attention. This is your sign. Here's your sign. Yes. Yeah. So you have to be willing to look. And then I loved what you said, that you have to forgive yourself and understand that fear is always the root cause.
Yes.
And
always.
And of course, you were saying the opposite of fear is
love.
Yeah. Love brings light. Love changes everything. Yeah, that is wonderful.
And once you locate whatever it is that you did, or whatever you're still holding on to and angry at yourself about, you can let that go and forgive and love yourself even more. Because people say to me all the time, "Well, that stuff sounds like I'm going to hate myself if I locate all those horrible things that I did." No, you hate yourself now. When you locate those things, you can let them go and really love yourself. Yeah. So that's what happens.
I think that is an incredibly powerful statement. You don't know this, but you hate certain aspects of yourself right now.
Yes, all the time.
And that is what is really holding you back.
Yes.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is amazing. Now, Royce, obviously this is not a one and done kind of situation, and it's not an overnight, hey presto. I would love a magic wand. I don't know about you. I've been looking for a magic wand. I have not found my magic wand.
Either.
Yeah, sure would be nice. So what is one or two little baby steps that you encourage people to do right now that will help them start to move in a better direction?
Well, I think the first baby step is just awareness. So if you're noticing, wow, I really want that raise and I can't seem to get it, and I'm so pissed at my boss. Well, stop for a minute and ask yourself, what is that person, what beliefs do I have about myself in terms of not deserving a raise? So start noticing just even slightly that, oh, maybe I don't believe I deserve a raise. I don't know why yet, because I haven't dug up the origins of that, but I can sense that there's some part of me that doesn't feel deserving.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really, that's a huge step for people because, like I said, we don't want to feel responsible. We want to feel like victims. Yeah. And of course, the other step would be to locate the source, the origin of that notion, but at least to recognize it is a huge step. It really is.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is incredible because I think that is one of the things that people struggle with the most. You're absolutely right. We like to think that life is happening to us.
Yeah.
And instead, life is happening through us.
Yes.
And so the better we are at releasing those blocks and uncovering, there's that story of the golden Buddha, which I'm sure you've heard. And it's a true story. I believe it was in Thailand. And they had this beautiful golden Buddha, and an enemy army was coming in, and they knew that if they saw the golden Buddha, they would melt it down. And so the monks quickly covered the Buddha with mud and stucco and all this gunk, so it looked like, a concrete Buddha. This was centuries ago. Well, they weren't allowed to tell anybody that it was actually a golden Buddha, so nobody did. And for generations, they had no idea it was there. Well, one day a monk was praying by the Buddha, and part of it flaked off and fell down, and he noticed that there was a glimmer there. Yeah. And truly the kind of theme of the golden Buddha is that each of us takes on all these beliefs from our surroundings, from our parents, from our upbringing, from all the different things that we're exposed to. And we're packing on the gunk. We're packing on the mud. We're packing on the stucco and covering up the brilliance within. And so the majority of the work that any of us do is about removing those layers, sloughing off the stuff that isn't necessary. Because you're absolutely right, Royce. You cannot use affirmations to build yourself up and add on until you get rid of the gunk that's in the way.
Yeah. And then I find that when you do that, you don't even need to do affirmations. Things just magically show up. You magically manifest all those things you've been struggling to have. It's an amazing thing that happens. And, I have called this work mirroring, because what really happens is everything is a mirror of what's going on in us. So when I shift over here, what gets reflected is something different to me all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the irony, what I love about this process is that many things are already there. It's just we have blinders on. So we can't see the things that are already present. I always remember I was up in Alaska hiking with my husband and my brother and his wife, and the salmon were running. And so we were walking along the stream, and there were supposed to be thousands of salmon, and I didn't see any stinking salmon. And then I finally put on my sunglasses, polarized lenses that can see through the water, and my brother tossed a stone in the river, and it moved because the river was solid wall-to-wall salmon. They were there. I just didn't see them.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the same thing as we go through our lives. Those limiting beliefs are barriers to seeing what is already there and already present for us. So I love the work you're doing. It's so powerful, and it is so important. Now,
Yes.
you very, very generously offered an incredible free gift, Transform Self-Sabotage class. Could you tell us a little bit about that and how we can sign up?
Sure. Yeah. The class is a 6-week course, and I really get into how we get programmed and how we can unprogram ourselves by getting to the origins of all of those limiting beliefs. And it's done remotely. The classes are about 2 hours. They're done live, small groups, so I can keep, questions and answers and discussions and sharing and all kinds. It's a very wonderful, intimate way of doing classes. I've always done the classes small like that, and I just really think it's important. So I'm offering a free session of one of these classes, one out of 6. So come and check it out and see how it feels for you. And I would love for you to tell your friends and bring a whole bunch of people. We can get one started.
That sounds great. How do we sign up?
Just go to my website, roycemorales.com, or my training is called perfectlifeawakening.com, or you can just email me at royce@roycemorales.com.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, one of the things that we do that's a little different here on the Abundance Journey, we always turn the tables on our guests because we know that when we give is when we truly receive the most. So what is something that we can do to support you, Royce?
I would love to start a new class. Ever since everything went remote, everything I used to do was always in person. And I had a center in Redondo Beach until my husband had his stroke. And so now everything is remote. And I would love for you to tell your friends and tell them to sign up. And of course, bringing a friend, you can have a free session, they can have a free session, etc. And then I'm also available for private work. So once you take that 6-week course, I highly recommend taking that course first because it makes a lot more sense if you understand the basics. And then I can work with you privately to get into some really deep areas. So yeah, tell your friends.
That's very cool. Very exciting. Well, you've left me with quite the dilemma. I have 2 pages of notes.
Oh my gosh.
I have 2 pages of notes that I took because you have so much to share, Royce. I mean, honestly, this was brilliant. And it's probably something that a lot of people don't think about. We hear about limiting beliefs, but we don't really get a perspective on what that means, what that looks like. How do we find them? And how do we remove them? So this was a powerful conversation. And now I have to pick just one thing to activate abundance on? Oh my gosh. That's going to be tricky, but I'm up to the task.
Okay, good.
You're lucky. I'm so tempted to keep you here all day.
That would be fine. I've got nothing to do.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much. And everybody stick around because we're going to activate abundance in just a moment. Hi, it's Elaine Starling, the Abundance Ambassador, and I know since you're listening to this show or watching this show, The Abundance Journey, you really want to experience more abundance in your life. Well, that's why I wrote the book, 5 Steps to Activate Your Abundance. It's available for sale right now from Amazon, from barnesandnoble.com, and many international sellers. And I want you to pick up a copy because I'm really opening the kimono here and sharing all of the information you need to experience abundance in every single aspect of your life. The book's divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is called Meeting the Divine. This is where I share my near-death experience and the conversation I got to have with our higher power during my stroke. In Part 2, Messages from the Divine, I share the best practices that I was given, the secret sauce in how life actually works. And so you understand really why you're here and how you can make the most of your life so you love every single moment. And then in the Part 3 is Partnering with the Divine. That's where I go into each of the 5 steps to activate your abundance and explain exactly why it works so well. So take a moment to pick up a copy. It's available as an ebook, a paperback book, an audiobook, and a video course. So however you like to absorb information, abundance is waiting for you. I adore Royce Morales. This woman is so insightful. And I love that it is challenging to do, and yet she makes it simple. She makes it really easy to understand. And that satisfies my mind. So then I can get into the nitty gritty and really start digging. That's super important to me because the mind tends to be the barrier. So step one is gratitude. I am so grateful to Royce for sharing her ideas with us today. She shared a ton. I have 2 pages of notes. It was all really good. Step 2 is to acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you. You just heard it in a slightly different way. I love that Royce asks herself questions. When she hits a barrier, she's like, okay, I don't feel I'm deserving of whatever this thing is that I say I want. What's going on here that makes me feel like I don't deserve it? So the thing that I want to acknowledge is the power of asking yourself questions like this, because so often we ask questions of the outside world. You know, we're looking for a resource, we're looking for a book, we're looking for an expert, we're looking for something out there that has the answer. And Royce has turned this on its head. She's like, no, the answer's inside you. You have to start asking yourself questions and feel in your body where it shows up and what it's trying to tell you. And you may need a little help with interpreting, but the first step is to ask the question. Okay, that's what I want to acknowledge is ask yourself the question. Step 3, appreciate the difference it can make in your life when you do what you just acknowledged. So when I start asking myself these questions, it's a really fast way for me to get present, for me to go inside and find the limiting beliefs. What must I believe to think that I don't deserve this? Yeah. Very interesting how this can open up a channel of thought and new ways to think about and look at the situation. It's like you're holding a prism and you're just shifting it around to look at the different facets on the prism. And each question reveals a new take on the prism. And that really enriches your life when you have the opportunity to look that deeply at how you are creating the barriers you're experiencing in your life. That is brilliant. I love that. Step 4 is activate abundance. And we've got 3 different ways we do that. Grab a calendar, schedule time to do it. One and done. Yeah, it doesn't work this way. Second version is create a physical trigger. Maybe you cross your fingers, you tug on your earlobe as a reminder, oh yeah, I got to make sure that I ask myself these questions. The third way is to declare what you're going to do. And it really helps if you have an accountability buddy or you're working with a coach who can double check and see, are you asking yourself these questions? As soon as you feel this resistance come up or you notice that something isn't happening in your life, are you going inside and asking yourself these questions? And I'm sure that there are better and better questions that you could be asking yourself. And over time, you learn what works for you. And working with a coach like Royce, she can help you get there faster. That said, you can do it yourself. So for me, I'm going to make the declaration from now on, I'm asking myself questions. I am really determined this year, my whole intention for the year is I am presence. I am presence and present. And so I want to get myself present by asking questions of myself and what's happening inside me. What are those barriers so I can let them go? Step 5, celebrate your progress. Isn't this incredible? I mean, we learned a ton from Royce today. She is absolutely brilliant. I know you're going to want to listen to this episode over and over and over again because she had so many incredible gems. And I could only pick just one for this segment. So don't miss out. Do yourself a favor. Listen again. And definitely sign up for her Transform Self-Sabotage class. I'm going to do that. I can't wait to see what it's all about. Thank you so much for joining me today. I can't wait to see you next time for the Abundance Journey.
You've been listening to the Abundance Journey Show with Elaine Starling. Visit theabundancejourney.com/podcast gifts to access today's gift, as well as gifts from our other guests. Tune in every week to activate abundance in your life and business. If something resonated with you, please share it with your friends so they can benefit too. Keep activating abundance, and we'll see you in the next episode.